Our panel of beat reporters gives their takes on the fall sports weekend as conference play heats up.
And as always, we give you our top 5 plays of the week.
Let's have some fun. Sports Paws starts now. And with that, we're off. Welcome to Sports Paws. I'm Tom Krosnowski alongside Liz Flynn. And Liz, today marks a special day. It's the autumnal equinox, otherwise known as the first day of fall, but it didn't feel like the first day of fall today, did it?
No, not at all. It felt more like a usual hot summer day, but I guess we should take in all the heat that we can get before the cold starts to creep in. But as everybody knows, Quinnipiac athletics never stops due to the weather, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. So what do you say we jump right in?
Let's rock and roll. The field hockey team hosted a big weekend with games against top 5 national program UConn and out-of-conference foe Vermont. Quinnipiac and UConn had played each other 11 times in their history, with the Huskies winning all 11 of them. Did that change on Friday? Let's find out. Here we go, UConn and Quinnipiac. Bobcats versus Huskies, a Nutmeg State showdown. Going to pick this up in the first quarter with a score 0-0. UConn in on the attack, and it's a good shot. The head of Bierman Ratyan, the freshman goalie, gets a piece of it, deflects it out of play to avoid trouble. Let's jump now here to the second quarter. It's 1-0 UConn. They're looking for more on the penalty corner. Wraps all the way around, back into the circle, centers it, and they score. Lead doubled there, 2-0. Maddie Ray gets the goal for the Huskies. They're looking to add yet again. Charging on into the zone. Here comes the shot. And head up Bierman Ratyan makes the kick save to keep it a 2-0 game. Freshman goalie was kept busy so far. Still here in the second quarter, UConn will try one more, and this time it goes in the net. That's from Svea Boker, her first goal of the game, but she would not be done. A few minutes later, it's Boker again, and she beats Bierman Ratyan. It's now 4-0 Huskies on Boker's second of the game. Let's take it now to the third quarter, second half. 4 minutes in, Abby Guterham is going to get the ball here off the penalty corner. Passes over to Sophie Hamilton, and she rings it home for her first goal. UConn goes up 5-0, and that's the way the score would stay for the rest of the game. UConn takes this one 5-0. Quinnipiac remains winless against UConn, a top 5 national program. But after the game, our beat reporter, Izzy Agricola, joined John Surratt to break down the Bobcats' performance.
This is the rebound with Q30 Sports after Quinnipiac Bobcats field hockey team lost to the UConn Huskies 5-0 today on Friday. Now, Izzy, why did this score come out to 5-0 today?
I mean, I think that going into this game, you're going to predict a score. I predicted a loss for Quinnipiac earlier in the season. UConn is ranked number 4. They have won 5-time national champions, and they are also 16-time Big East champions. So I think going into this, I mean, you have to expect UConn to come out strong. They're going to be a hard team to beat, and I think seeing the score 5-0, it makes sense. I think Quinnipiac does have the ability to have scored a few more in there. They might have had the ability to beat them or come a little closer, but when you're talking about a team like UConn, it's kind of a no-brainer to predict that they're going to win a game like this, and I just think that's what they came out and did. They came out and played like they usually play.
Yes, she did predict on Sports Paws them to lose this game, so 1-0 already, but they have not beaten UConn yet, Izzy, ever in their history. Last year they lost 8-0. What's their mentality going into this game?
I mean, UConn is not only a powerhouse in the nation, it's a powerhouse in the Big East. They were predicted to be number 1. Quinnipiac was predicted to be number 7. And I think when you're coming into a game like this, they first played each other in 1998. They have never won. The Bobcats have never won. In 1998, it was a 10-0 score. Last year, it was an 8-0 score. This year's a 5-0 score. So, I mean, I think you have to go in with the mentality that every year you're going to get better. I mean, you have to go in with the mentality that you're going to win. No matter who you're playing, you want to go in with the mentality that this is a win game. We are going to win this game. But in the sense of when you're playing a powerhouse like UConn, I think you go in with, we're going to improve on what we did last year.
Now, Coach Becca May talked about this at the end of the game. It was hard to adjust to UConn's style of play. They played a lot to the sideline, very spread out. Now, why was this so hard for the Bobcats to maintain today?
So, like you said, UConn plays a very wide game, and Becca Main said that they tried to keep them to the sides. They wanted to keep them to the sides, but they also have such good passing. Even when they are keeping them to the sides, UConn is going to strike. So I think the Bobcats came out and they didn't adjust like they should have. Up in the press box, you could hear Becca Main saying, get wider, and they needed a bigger zone in order to shut those down, and they did keep them out of the middle, but I think just on the sideline, they also had to work on their defense and being able to stop them.
Field hockey had a quick turnaround this weekend as they played the University of Vermont on Sunday after their disappointing shutout loss against UConn that past Friday. The Bobcats game against the Catamounts was a defensive battle with impressive blocks and tackles from both sides to keep the offenses at bay. We start in the first quarter now, where you're going to have sophomore defender Michaela Dugan lay a low block on the ball out of the circle. Sierra Perkins comes in and then uses their speed to send the ball right out afterwards. The Bobcats are unable to connect on this, and goalkeeper Sierra Esplin kicks it out, moving on to the second quarter. Now UVM will send it into the Bobcat circle, but goalkeeper Hedda Bierman-Ratchin clears it out with a heads-up play. And a lot of good defense here on the Bobcat side. Still on Bobcat side, sophomore Brooke Whipkey snatched the ball from a Catamount and reversed it up the field. Early in the third quarter now, Vermont hammers one into the circle for Bailey Matthews to tip it in, but she just hits the post, and that will not go. First penalty corner here for the game for Vermont, but the Bobcats' tough defense doesn't even let the ball get near Bierman-Ratchin, and we're still scoreless in Hamden. Quinnipiac's Amanda Bloom runs it to the side of the goal for Isabella Sinibalja, but Vermont's defense will stop that one as well. The Bobcats now will take their first corner of the game, but the ball will just go past Bianca Strube, and that's another corner now for the Bobcats. This one will go to Strube once again, who will score, and is now 1-0 Bobcats. Heading now into the fourth quarter, the Catamounts are going to try to even the score, coming in tight with a quick drag towards the net, but Dugan tracks it down and is able to clear it. Vermont pulls its goalie for an extra attacker now, but Brooke Whipkey finds space, and she almost taps it in, but it will not go as the Catamounts defense closes in. The Bobcats will go on to win this one by a score of 1-0.
Let's take a look at the early Big East standings so far. Not surprising that UConn and Liberty are atop the conference with a combined record of 12-2. After that, it's anyone's game. Old Dominion and Georgetown are off to good starts in the conference, while Providence, Villanova, and Quinnipiac round out the bottom.
Women's soccer now took on Canisius this past Saturday, and it was the first conference game for both teams. Let's take a look at the highlights. We start in the first half against Canisius, where you're going to see Ali Grunstein intercept a pass from Canisius. She passes it towards the top of the box where Selena Salas goes, cuts in, and sneaks it right past three defenders and into the goal. And here you see a big celebration from Salas. Next here we have a Quinnipiac corner kick. The pass goes out to Ali Grunstein, who then makes a nice pass back to Selena Salas, who creeps in, works her way inside, and scores her second of the game. And another celebration here from Salas. Later on, Canisius forward Shauna Lee crosses one into the box, but goalkeeper Megan Phillips comes out to punch the ball away and make a good save. Coming in here now, QU defender Kylie Ant has trouble making a play, allowing Shauna Lee to break towards the net, but the weak left-footed stop is saved. In the second half now, Canisius midfielder Lexi Perry gets a breakaway opportunity to put her team on board, but no, Megan Phillips will rush out to make another wonderful save. Selena Salas now is going to take the free kick for Quinnipiac from around midfield and boots it across, where Kelsey Goldring is going to settle the ball in, shoot it, and extend the Bobcats' lead 3-0. And that is your final from this match.
After the win over Canisius, Quinnipiac is in a good position in the MAC standings. Their 5-3 overall record is the best in the conference, and there are only 2 teams the MAC wins so far. After being projected to finish second in the preseason poll, the Bobcats are off to a fast start atop the conference. Canisius, Fairfield, and Niagara are close, while Ryder and preseason favorite Monmouth round out the top 6.
We are now joined by women's soccer beat reporter Shannon Tierney. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys. I'm excited to talk some women's soccer tonight.
Okay, well, first off, let's talk goalkeepers. Based on what you've seen so far this season, who do you think is the better option going forward, Megan Phillips or Olivia Myszewski?
Well, if I learned anything from Quinnipiac Athletics last season, it's to go with the hot hand when it comes to goalies. Shortridge in men's hockey last season, Mazzola for men's soccer. And right now, Phillips has that hot hand. 4 shutouts on the season, and she's just getting comfortable, while Myszewski, she's a little rusty. I saw her in the game over Dartmouth, and she made some critical mistakes, clearing out the ball to the wrong team, which cost her a goal. You have to go with the goalie that's comfortable, and not just Megan Phillips isn't just comfortable, she's phenomenal. 25 total saves. You just saw that highlight, one off of a breakaway this weekend for Canisius. I know it's a tough call to go with the freshman over the senior, especially with how Myszewski has played in the past. But right now, I think you have to make that tough call and go with Myszewski.
Sure is a tough call, Shannon, not one I'd want to make. But last year, Selena Salas was an impact freshman. This year, a number of first-year players have stood out. Who has been the most impressive rookie to you?
I mean, I could go with the obvious answer here and say Phillips. I did just hype her up. But the player that I have had the most fun watching and that I've found to be really impressive is Markela Baylerly. I've really liked her at this midfield position. She has 1 goal and 2 assists on the season. One of the assists against MAC opponent, Canisius, and the other against Bryant during overtime, which obviously led to the goal that would finish off the game. So she has 13 shots, 6 on goal, which obviously is a big deal. This team really needs to work on creating scoring opportunities and getting that ball in the net. So to have a player that can put pressure on the goalie, but also create opportunities for her fellow teammates, I think is really important. And I'm excited to see how she continues to play as we go further into conference play.
Now, thinking long-term, how do you think the Bobcats are going to fare in MAC play? Do you think they're going to get hot and stay hot, or is this good start they're having just a fluke?
Well, Canisius is a game that I'd expect them to win. And next they're playing Ryder and Marist, which is also games that I do expect them to win. But then after that it's Monmouth, who have clearly dominated the MAC for years. They're defending champions right now. And I really think that that game versus Monmouth next weekend is what's really going to show to me and to everyone really if this Quinnipiac team is contenders or pretenders. I think if they can hold their own against Monmouth, win, or even just have a close game with them, I think it will be showing to me that they can really just make a play to get that MAC championship this year.
All right, thank you very much, Shannon, for the analysis. Now, let's take it to break. Coming up on Sports Paws, the volleyball team hit the road for 2 MAC matchups this weekend. Find out how the team made out in their first conference action.
And Jonathan Banks joins us to talk men's soccer. Don't go anywhere.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. and it at feedingamerica.org.
Sports Paws. Now let's head to the courts to talk some volleyball. The Bobcats lost a tough match in 5 sets to the Siena Saints this weekend. Maggie Baker led the Bobcats with 18 kills, followed by Morgan Sherwin with 14 and Callie Oates with 10. Siena battled back constantly throughout this contest to help them get the win and improve to 1-1 in MAC play.
The volleyball team continued its Northern New York trek the next day with a match at Marist College in Poughkeepsie. Although Ariana Diaz had an impressive day with 20 kills and 17 assists, the Red Foxes came out on top by a score of 3 sets to 1. Outside hitter Megan Fergus led Marist to victory with 22 kills. The Red Foxes improved their conference record to 1-1, while the Bobcats fell to 0-2.
Now let's take a look at the MAC standings. The Bobcats are currently sitting in 9th place in the MAC, still looking for their first conference win. They are 4-7 overall, and Fairfield sits in first place with a 7-4 record, followed by Rider and Siena. And it's good to note that Fairfield and Rider have not lost a conference match yet, so we will have to see how that goes the rest of the season.
While the volleyball team has already started conference play, the men's soccer team still had a couple of non-conference games to play, including a road tussle against Central Connecticut State University. Roll the footage. Bobcats and Blue Devils from Central Connecticut State, one of Quinnipiac's final out-of-conference games of the year. We're going to pick this one up just 12 minutes into the game when Auriak Villa hits the lower right corner for his second goal of the season. Take another look. He just gets the shot away before the defender comes in with the slide tackle. Later on in the quarter, Tomas Svekula cranks one 18 yards out for the score. I think we're going to see this play later on in the show. 2-0 Quinnipiac. Now watch this one. Here's Jordan Bennett, Quinnipiac defender, all the way across for Simon Hillinger, who pots it in the back of the net. And let's take another look at this one in slow motion. You can see Hillinger pop it up to himself, and even before the ball touches the ground, he puts it in the lower net for a score, 3-0 Quinnipiac after the first half. As we bring you to half number 2, CCSU has a PK. It's a great initial save by Jared Mazzola, but the rebound just a little wide. Jamie Sampson makes it a 3-1 ball game. But here in the 69th minute, the ball is bouncing around. It gets to Bruno Aguilan, who's able to bring it down and score his first of the season to seal the win for Quinnipiac at 4-1. See it again here, bouncing ball and Aguilan with the finish, and that's what the score would remain. 4-1 Quinnipiac is your final.
To give us more insight on men's soccer season so far, we are now joined by beat reporter Jonathan Banks. Banks, what's up?
Not much, Liz. Ready to talk some soccer. We're going to go into depth on the Central Connecticut State game. Quinnipiac won 4-1. Tom gave you kind of the runaround of what happened. I'm going to go into some details for you. So we're going to pick it up here early in the game. Auriak Villa driving, and we'll start this tape here. He's going to score his second goal of the season on a nice finish past the Central Connecticut State goalkeeper. But here's what I want you guys to look at. We're going to see this goal again. The Navas Spain native gets his second goal. But as he's driving, we're going to stop it right here. So this is really what I want you to look at, is we're going to right here. So Auriak Villa is driving at this defender, and this defender right here has a decision to make. And that is because of Romain Danilou here, Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac specializes in making late runs from midfield. Every good soccer team does, to give defenders more things to think about. Now this defender is standing sideways because he's not sure if Villa is going to square this back to Danilou, and if you pass it to a player of Danilou's quality here, he's going to easily tuck this into the far corner of the net. But because he's standing sideways, Villa knows that he has the outside to run into and then bend it into the far corner himself. So any good goal scorer, Auriak Villa loves to put the ball in the back of the net, and he's confident right now. He's got 2 goals on the year. What he's going to do, as if we play it here, he's going to just wait, and the defender's too late, slides, can't get there, and the goal is scored. So Quinnipiac will take a 1-0 lead thanks to that Auriak Villa strike. And then later on in the first half, in this rivalry between two teams who used to play each other all the time in the NEC, Quinnipiac obviously in the MAC right now, but the second goal is coming up, and it's a 4-2 disbounce. Thomas Svekula with a nice finish there. Tom said we might see that play earlier, and we will. Let's stop it right here. This is really important because it's a 4-2 disbounce to Svekula, but if you don't see it here, Svekula's first step, he's kind of just standing around. His first step is back on his right foot, and because he does this, his body is now opened up right here and squared to the goal so he can wrap this ball around. If he stays flat-footed and is standing still, he has to take a touch out before he shoots it, and with everyone in this crowd, someone is going to come out and most likely block that shot. But because he's able to take that subtle touch with his right foot. He has great positional sense. He's able to just open up his body and just put it right in the far corner. Doesn't have a lot of power on the shot, but the accuracy is perfect. And the Central Connecticut State goalkeeper really has no chance to save it. You'll see here one more time, Danilou bounce, and it goes right there to Svekula. And he's going to play a lot for this team, kind of filling in those Rashawn Daly minutes. It'll be a committee approach to replace him, but Svekula has been leading the pack up top with Eamon Whalen. Now, Simon Hillinger is going to score here. This is a great ball from Jordan Bennett into Hillinger. The touch off his chest is a little too high for my liking, and he gets lucky with the shot off the goalkeeper, but it's a good play by Hillinger. This is really the most important thing that you want to look at. So Jordan Bennett here is going to serve this ball. And watch, it's going to pause here, and this is so good from Simon Hillinger. This is something that is high-level IQ stuff. When Bennett's head goes down to cross this ball, Simon Hillinger is already running. He knows this ball is coming into this area inside the box, and what makes this even better is check out Central Connecticut State's defense. Ball watching. Ball watching, ball watching, ball watching. I'm going to draw a ton of arrows because every single player on the field is watching the ball except for Simon Hillinger. And that is really what IQ, it's what you do off the ball in soccer that makes it so important. Everyone on Central Connecticut State is staring at this ball. Simon Hillinger knows where the ball is going to be. He's already on the run. He knows that if he times his run perfectly and he's onside, no one has any chance to catch him. And even though his touch off his chest isn't the greatest, he's so far ahead, 3 or 4 yards ahead, that he can finish this off. And it's just such intelligent movement from Hillinger on a cross from Bennett. It'll be coming shortly. There we go. Nice ball in. Hillinger just really able to get there, and a really nice goal. Quinnipiac's number 5 was such a high IQ play, and this is the type of things that Quinnipiac is going to need to score in those 0-0 games when teams are sitting back against them in the MAC. But we're going to show you, this is my favorite part right here. You guys are going to see this coming up. It'll be circled for you. Did it myself in post, you never know what happens in live TV as Hillinger celebrates. We're going to pause it right here. So you see this defender right here. As he watches Hillinger, he puts his hands up because he knows what happens already. Great finish from Hillinger. He knows what's going to happen. And Hillinger gets that. Bruno Aguilar scores in the second half on kind of a scrappy goal to make it a 4-1 Quinnipiac win. They'll take on New Hampshire tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Maybe we'll get to the board next week and see some of these, but for now, Tom, Liz, back to you guys.
Great stuff there, Coach Banks, and might I add, great artwork as well.
Yeah, you really have a knack for that, so really proud of you. We are now going to take one more break, but when we come back, Rand Pecknold shares his thoughts on Chase Prisky, the future of the men's ice hockey team, and more. And we wrap up with the Sports Paws staple, the top 5. You're not going to want to miss it.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Thanks so much for sticking with us here on Sports Paws. There are T-minus 13 days before the first exhibition game for the men's ice hockey team, and head coach Rand Pecknold spoke to the media today over a conference call. Among other things, he talked about how the Bobcats will look to replace former captain Chase Prisky.
I mean, I think it's hard to really look at any one guy to replace him. I mean, his character and his leadership was special. One of the best we've ever had here from that perspective. Just a great captain, great leader. Obviously, a great season too. He's going to be missed not just on the power play or offensively. He really rounded himself into a great defensive hockey player, a great penalty killer. So I don't think we have any one player that can do it. We're hoping that Carlos and Dilly can take big jumps, and then we're going to have a couple of these freshmen D step in. We're going to try TJ Friedman at defense this year. We're going to convert him moving back. He moved in and played a couple games in the Brown series to fill in for Prisky last year, and I thought was excellent. So we're going to try that out of the gate, see how that goes. But it's definitely was the strength of our team last year, and those guys are hard to replace. And Prisky, Rafferty, and Fortunato, they were so dominant. Plus 3/5 of our power play. But we'll find a way. Every year, every team loses good players, and every year guys take jumps and kind of come out of nowhere that are grinding it out, getting better each year. So we need that, whether it's a sophomore or a junior, senior. Somebody needs to step up and play well for us.
With puck drop right around the corner, the preseason ECAC hockey polls and teams were unveiled on Tuesday, and there was plenty of QU representation. Junior Central OG Tuxedo was selected to the preseason All-ECAC hockey team, which marks the 5th time in the last 6 years that a Quinnipiac player was selected to the squad. Additionally, the team was projected to finish 2nd in a coaches poll and garnered 3 first-place votes.
Well, the weather was fantastic outside this past weekend for the men's tennis invitational. They completed it this past weekend at Quinnipiac, and Patrick Cachapero advanced to the singles semifinal, and Alistair Maglet and Brian Schick won 2 matches in the B doubles bracket. The Bobcats win 10 for 25 throughout the entire 3-day weekend.
It was also a successful weekend for Quinnipiac runners, as the men's and women's cross-country teams both finished in the top 5 at the Henry Mercer Invitational in Homedale, New Jersey. The women's team finished 3rd, led by a strong time from senior Megan Curtin, though the men's team placed 5th, as senior Michael Kiernan paced the Bobcats for the 3rd straight week. Both teams will next be in action in 2 weeks at the Paul Short Invitational in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. The women's golf team is back in action this week as they play the Boston College Intercollegiate. The tournament wraps up on Tuesday and is still in progress, as the Bobcats look to build off a solid showing at Dartmouth last time out. Liz, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Take us through the top 5 plays of the week.
You got it, Tom. You take the odds, and I'll take the evens. Excuse me, I will take the odds, and you will take the evens.
Cool. I thought you had an audible
there.
No,
I changed my mind. I want to take the odds. Okay, coming in hot at number 5, we have women's soccer at Canisius. Quinnipiac's Selena Salas crosses a free kick down the field to Kelsey Goldring. She gets into the box and absolutely rips one past the Canisius goalie to put QU ahead 3-0, and that would be the final.
All right, play number 4, men's soccer at Central Connecticut State. We've seen this one before. A deflected ball at the feet of Tomas Svekula. He blasted it into the top right corner. Watch this rocket one more time. Again, QU wins 4-1.
Coming in now at number 3, we are back with women's soccer at Canisius. A Quinnipiac corner kick starts with a slow pass back to Selena Salas, who makes a great move, cuts in, and scores from a tough angle. What a game for Selena Salas.
Indeed. It's 2 goals for the sophomore. Now, play number 2, field hockey versus UConn. Didn't end well for Quinnipiac, but great effort there by Hedda Bierman-Ratyan, the freshman goalkeeper. Quinnipiac lost 5-0, but Hedda Bierman-Ratyan was not the reason why. She played terrific.
And coming in at number 1, our top play of this week goes to men's soccer at Central Connecticut State. Quinnipiac's Jordan Bennett crosses once into the box to Simon Hillinger, who comes out of nowhere. He plays it off his chest, waits, and absolutely blasts it home. Are you kidding me? I still have no idea how he did that.
I can't believe it either.
Yeah.
Now, Quinnipiac soccer showed off the fancy footwork this week for sure, but let's take a look at the weekend ahead, as we've got our first women's hockey action of the season. The Bobcats will host Ryerson in an exhibition game. What else are you looking forward to this week, Liz?
I'm excited to see women's soccer take on Ryder this weekend. The Bobcats are 2-4-1 against the Bronx since 2013, so I'm interested to see how they're going to do this year. Well, Tom, that is all the time we have for tonight, but it was an absolute pleasure joining you on the desk this evening.
Likewise, Liz. This is one of the more electric desks in Sports Paws history.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
Now, as always, don't forget to check out all of our work on Q30TV.com and on Twitter at Q30Sports. For Liz Flynn, I'm Tom Krosnowski. Have a great week, everybody.